Welcome to the Mighty Podcast, where we talk about our hurts, habits, hangups, highs, and lows, and about life in general. Each week, we'll be talking on a new topic with myself and fellow believers, anywhere from content creators, everyday people, pastors, musicians, and much, much more. We hope you get some encouragement and love from this, and hope to connect with you. We appreciate you listening in and hope you stick around. I hope you enjoy your day, night, evening, whenever you're watching this, and we'll check you out in the next one. Peace out, love you guys. God bless. So welcome to the Mighty Podcast. Today we have the Random Christian Gamer joining us today. So you can check him out over on YouTube and Kick. So how's it going?
Pretty good on the whole. I had work earlier today, so like a little tired, not too bad, but it is what it is.
I feel that. Yeah, I have to work tomorrow, so I'm not excited for it, if I'm being honest. So
also my shifts start at like 5 a.m. local time, so
you're Central Time, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nope. I get up at 7 to 7:30 Eastern, so
yeah.
I live over.
Even with the time difference, I'm starting work like an hour before you're getting up.
Yeah. So it's just, I think it's I live in Indiana. Where are you from?
I'm in Texas. I'm actually originally from Pennsylvania, but
wow.
I'm in Texas.
Okay. Dude, I wanted to move to Texas so bad. Like,
don't do it now.
No.
Like this time of year, I mean, like the heat is just
Well, we were going to move in November, and we really did the math on it, and it was going to cost us like $3,000 or so to move. And I was like, yeah, I can't save up that much in this short amount of time unless a miracle just happens. So like, there's no way that's going to work. So I wanted to move because me and my wife were actually going to move back to Oklahoma because that's where I'm from. So we were going to move over to Tulsa, and we really were looking hardcore, like looking at apartments, and like it's pretty cheap over there. And then we finally just sat down. We're like, okay, how are we actually going to do this? And then we're like, well, we can't. And then it turned out to be, well, let's try to move out from where we're at now because we don't really like it. It's not super homey, but it was just whenever we moved in, it was a very bad taste in our mouth just because of like what happened when we moved in. And so we were just like, yeah, no, we don't want to do that. But we ended up moving in here anyway because we didn't really have much of a choice. Then we're like, oh, we're going to move in a year anyway, so why does it matter? And then our plans keep changing. And then it's like, well, why don't we just stay here, save up as much as what we can, be here for another year or two, and then we'll have enough money to move later. And so we finally sat down, made the decision to be like, okay, let's just make sure that this is going to happen, that this is our plan. And if this is our plan, we're making this house more cozy and better than what it has been. So we've literally, I think the past like 2 to 3 days now, we've been moving, rearranging the house to our liking. I had to move some bookshelves out of the cat's room, and we moved our big TV that we had that was in the living room. We moved it into our bedroom so we can actually watch TV. My wife can kind of hang out in the bedroom now instead of having to be out in the living room all the time. So it's just, there's a lot to it. It's a very, very long story for how we had to get the place and whenever we were trying to move in. So it's insane. So I have kind of one question for sure for you. I know that you do gaming and everything. So how did that start?
I mean, I've played video games most of my life, really, but the earliest I can remember is playing like a Sega Genesis. It was one of the Sonic the Hedgehog games, probably. Forget if it was actually 1 or 2 that I played first, but anyway, I've been playing video games most of my life. As to how that got incorporated into like, YouTube and what I do online. So I might as well just sort of go back to the beginning of how that all
Yeah.
started, because I at a previous job I had not too far from where I live now. I just was talking with somebody, and you know, they mentioned doing some journaling and stuff, or I think I was talking about some journaling I was doing with that person, and they just kind of said, "Well, why don't you try making some videos out of it? I mean, it couldn't hurt, right?" So I actually started my YouTube channel then under a different name, as just an extension of journaling. It was like a weekly update, almost weekly personal update of like, here's something that happened in my life or some thought that I had throughout the week. And here you go, here it is. But then, I started getting more into stuff, realizing that, yeah, I mean, this is well and good, but like, I'm not always the best at coming up with topics
Yeah.
for that kind of stuff. And I was like, look, video games are a lot of what I do in my free time anyway. If I'm putting myself out there on the internet, on YouTube, gaming might as well be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I did have to upgrade my tech a bit when I, wanted to do that. But after that, it was pretty much just, yeah, so get the stuff all connected for that to work, and then just kind of play through some video games, chill, still just kind of be me, and just as I'm playing a video game.
That's cool. That's cool. So so this is kind of like a more personal question on this, like, how long have you been a Christian, and how it's kind of a personal question, but kind of like I want to say like a little bit harder question. So like, when did you become a Christian, or when did you like accept Jesus? I think I like saying that a bit better. When did you accept Jesus, and then how do you incorporate that into like video games or like streaming wise?
So it might be a little debatable, like when I became a Christian, so to speak.
Right.
I mean, like, I grew up in a Christian home with Christian parents, went to church my whole life. The denomination I grew up in did like infant baptism kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was, I say I was water baptized as an infant.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bible talks about being baptized by water and the Spirit.
Yeah.
And I would say the Spirit part really came into play after I went through what they call confirmation. Pretty much, it's like almost like a class within the church designed to help people learn some of the basics of the faith, sort out, okay, do I really believe this? What do I really,
Yeah.
hold fast to out of all this? And that just kind of sparked an interest in learning more and really actually like, pursuing Jesus rather than just saying I like kind of knew of
Yeah.
Jesus. So really then it would be when I say, I was filled with the Spirit more so, and I just kept wanting to get more involved at church at that age. I was like 12 at the time.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say I was fully a believer around age 12.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
And this is going to get into quite a bit of backstory. Hope you don't mind. But
I don't mind. I love hearing it. I love hearing it.
So my journey from there, to summarize it, pretty much went, getting more and more plugged in at church, especially at youth group, volunteered kind of with like the youth group band, helping to, run tech stuff, set up lighting, do the slides. Eventually was kind of a backup singer in the band, although like I wasn't really there so much for my voice so much as like kind of the energy that I carried.
Yeah.
Really helping to get other people into whatever we were doing. And so with being that involved in youth ministry and really kind of wanting to pass along that type of experience to the next generation, so to speak, you know, studied youth ministry in college, got a degree in it, bounced around a little bit afterwards till I got to the job I had right before my current one. I actually was working at a Christian boarding school.
Interesting.
And so getting to do like weekly devotions and prayer times and chapel services and different things like that, but also getting to do, you know, just life with the students that were there, you know, in the houses on campus.
Yeah.
But anyway, so really where I bring my faith into, you know, YouTube and content that I make and all that kind of stuff, I'd almost say the strategy of my channel is more so like kind of bringing people in more so with the gaming aspect of things, like playing a variety of games, hoping to reach, you know, different fan bases, so to speak. You know, getting them plugged in and interested, and then also having like Bible study live streams that I do where they can come in and like ask questions, whether it's directly related to what I'm reading through or not. I've been doing it more so like not even really topical Bible study so much as just like, all right, here's a chapter, I'm going to read through it. The idea is I'm going to actually go cover to cover through the Bible, just chapter by chapter. And I'm in Deuteronomy lately, so I still have a long ways to go. When you're only covering 2 chapters a week, it's going to take a while. But still, and even just after the official Bible study portion of it's over, I go back to some more video game stuff just to kind of chill and but also have it open for other questions, whether they be, you know, related to the game, faith, whatever. And especially with return stream viewers, I kind of try and then, you know, ask them a bit of their story, where they stand, what they believe, that kind of stuff.
It's
so
cool. That's really cool.
It's when I publish the videos later on, I tend to kind of, you know, try to keep them separate, where it's like, okay, this is Bible study, this is gaming stuff, and, you know, leave that up to them, what they want to engage with later on. But especially in the live streams, it's like, it's right there. It's, you know, just conversation, trying to build rapport, community, that kind of stuff, and really get to know people as much as I can as they come in and out from my live streams and whatever.
I gotcha. I actually really like that. I always had a tough time with like not necessarily talking about Jesus on stream, but like doing the Bible study and then like doing Bible studies and then playing a game for myself. Like, it's, to me, I'm like, man, that's really tough. So part of what I do sometimes, not all the time, which I need to be a lot better about that, is I pray before stream and then I will just go into it. But I didn't do that all the time. But my energy for streams, kind of the reason why I couldn't really do a lot of Bible study or things like that, is my energy starting stream is super high. Like, it's super, super peak. I'm excited. I'm chilling. I'm playing games, or like I just get excited to play games because I normally play with my wife. And then as I want to say 30 minutes, I'm just slowly descending. So I'm like, if I started Bible study, I'm like, yeah, that would last. That would be great. I would be excited. It would be amazing. And then within my first game of whatever game I'm playing, my energy up here slowly decreasing. So by the second game, I'm just like, yeah, sup chat, how's it going? Yeah. And then my energy level, that's kind of why I don't really stream much, is because like for myself, I'm a very energetic person and I'm a very chill person at that. So it's like, it's hard for me to stay energetic and energized like some of the streamers are. And I just want to chill. And it's so difficult for myself to like implement, like to be energized in like a very healthy way in the in like the full stream. I can't, there's no way. And so I'm just like kind of not necessarily giving up on the idea of streaming, but like doing my reactions. And even with reactions, I literally can't record more than like 4 or 5 anymore, just because after that I'm just like, oh dude, I'm done. Like I can't do it anymore. And that's like, it's like, I know that I should push myself to do that, but I can't. I don't know what it is. I can't discipline myself enough to be like, man, I need to do this. I can do it. Let's just power through it. By that time, like if I'm doing reactions, you're going to know that I'm not feeling it. And you're going to know it by, I'm very expressive. So if I'm out here watching or like listening to music and I'm recording, I'm just going to be like, like, yeah, I can't, there's no way. So to do a Bible study, even if it's not long, and then game for however long, is so difficult. And I applaud you, because that is, I know a few people who do that, and I'm like, I wish I could do that, and I can't. So it's like, I let people know, like in my videos, I'm like, I'm a big Christian. Like, I'm not going to listen to anything that's bad, that's like really innuendo based or like sexualized, nothing like that. I'm like, I can't do that. That's not what this channel is about. I don't like too much cussing. If they're like, I don't really listen to songs that have cussing, but if I do, then I try to like bleep it out or something, because I'm like, that's not what my channel is about. Like, I want my niece and nephew to be able to watch this like without so much cussing, because my niece really likes K-pop, and so my channel is based around K-pop reactions and Christian rap reactions. So that's like my niche. Like it's really difficult, because this is what we kind of talked beforehand, and I was gonna tell you this, so kind of getting into it, it's the niche within YouTube is really difficult for myself, because I want to do everything. I'm not satisfied. I want to do anything and everything. And that's one of the reasons for the podcast, because I wanted to kind of see how this was going to go and start up the podcast. And so I do K-pop reactions because like it really helped boost my channel. My wife showed me K-pop like a year and a half ago. Maybe longer than that, maybe almost 2 years now, and I loved it immediately. Can't understand much, but yeah. I love the beat and just how musically inclined they are, and the style of it fits perfectly of what I really enjoy. And so I was like, okay, you know, like K-pop's a pretty big like thing apparently, and I didn't know about it. I mean, you have BTS, who is like huge K-pop idol, whatever. Yeah. And some people argue that they're not just K-pop, or like they're not K-pop, whatever. Anyway, I'm not getting into that. So I loved it. I was like, man, I really want to do this. This seems so fun. I wanted to learn more about this music that I'm listening to. So I just kept listening to music and reacting to that, and it like blew my channel up like crazily. Like I became a YouTube partner. I have about close to 1.5K subs, but I don't make any money off of it. And the reason for that is because you have to have the license of the music in order to be monetized, and they don't do that over, like, most of the time they don't do that. And so it's very rare, unless it's a short, that I'll make any money off of what I'm doing. So it's a hard niche, very hard, And I want to do, I love Christian rap too. So like whenever we had the albums that I told you about, like the 2 albums that came out, so the What Up RG album and Social Club Misfits album, and I was like, I'm gonna react to this. And then I had another like big rapper come in who's on the Christian scene. His name's Holvey, super dope dude, awesome. And he came in, and I'm like, dude, I really wish this was on my channel. Like, I really wish I could do this. This would be great just for this niche alone. I would love this. But I also love K-pop. So I'm like, I just do music reactions. I'm just gonna combine it. My K-pop. So this is how crazy it gets of how it pushes things out. Like YouTube is, I love and hate YouTube. Period. Like I have a love-hate relationship with it. So it's like my K-pop reactions, I at least have 100 to 200 views. Almost minimum. Every time I post.
Yeah.
My Christian rap reactions, I would be lucky to get 10 views. That's how crazy to have one solid niche, and it sucks because I'm like, well, I want to react to more than just this and actually make money off of it, because with YouTube you're also supposed to get like a membership thing, so it's like Patreon. But if you have a lot of videos that can't be monetized, or it's like copyright, you can't do that because you're just doing copyrighted content. Even though like I'm reacting to it, it's just copyrighted content, and they won't do that. So you have to have a Patreon. So it's very frustrating of how to try and make money around it, but it's just like how to incorporate. I'm going to kind of bring it back in because other questions, but of really reaching out, because like ultimately at the end of the day, I love music, and whatever audience that I reach, because I reach out to a lot of my audience is from other countries as well. So I want to be able to reach out and show Christ wherever and whenever. So if it's through reactions and stuff, they will know it by my actions and how I act and everything, because it's really difficult to see me like physically in person doing stuff, and I can talk big game, whatever, you know. It's just like I'm the same person as you see now, or if you're watching my YouTube videos, I'm the same person like that as I am just in real life. And so like nothing ever changes, and I will talk your head off about Christ, and I'll talk your head off about sports, music, video games, all sorts of stuff. So it's like that person that is being shown on camera on YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, wherever, is the same person as in real life. So like my stuff will never change on that. And the only time that I will ever change is if Christ is really changing me. So that's the only time that it's ever going to happen. I know Christ is constantly changing me, and that's the only time that you'll see any kind of difference, is a better version of myself. And I want people to see that as content rolls out. So that, I know that was a whole tangent, whole lot, but that's kind of like where my head's at on the content side of like being a Christian and making content. Because like if I can't do like a Bible study or anything like that on a stream, you know, which is very difficult for myself, then there's other ways to be able for myself that I can show Christ in a different way. And other people can agree, other people disagree, whatever. It is what it is. So
yeah, I don't know. For me, live streaming has been a somewhat more recent thing. But really, it was just my thought in doing those was like, I'm usually sitting down and doing recording sessions for my content anyway. Might as well make it live.
Yeah.
Plus, that seems to almost like encourage the authenticity within me even a little bit more, doing it on a live stream, as opposed to like if I'm just sitting and recording stuff and I know that there's like breaks and gaps in between without really anything going, I can like, force myself to be a little bit more energetic, more talkative, more whatever. And I do generally still end up talking a lot while I'm doing my streams, but it's like even the little bit that was kind of like, forced and manufactured before, like even that little bit is pretty much all but gone.
Yeah.
Doing it through live streams, because it's like the whole time I've really just it's been me being me, but like
Yeah.
When I'm live, I can't just suddenly make up for, oh yeah, I totally said this thing weird and I can go back and edit that.
Yeah.
No, I'm live.
Yeah.
Whoever is watching right now just heard that.
Yeah. It's so tough to me to keep up like the energy, but like kind of like what you said, if you're just recording, not doing it live, you have breaks and you can just like you can take a break and come back, and then you can come back with the same energy that you had like way before, or even more energy. But like over time on stream, like your energy level is gonna kind of fluctuate. Mine would just pretty much just dip.
I mean, mine does kind of, dwindle, but
yeah,
it maybe a bit slower. I'd say I don't know for sure if I can tell you what the longest stream that I've done is, but like, it couldn't have been much more than like 5 hours or so.
Yeah, that's I think my max ever stream is like 4 to 5 hours. That's the baseline. That's probably my max ever that I can do. People do 10, 12-hour streams all the time, and I'm like, dude, I could not be on camera. Like, I can't be on camera for 12 hours. Not even 10. I'm fighting for my life if I'm doing 5. Like 2 to 3 hours is best. And I know people like there's a guy, his name's D Gregs. He goes on. I love D Gregs, by the way. He's amazing. Such a good, dope dude. Love him to death. He streams probably 12 hours a day, almost every single day of his life, unless he's like working as like a substitute teacher or he's working out on the farm or something. 12-hour streams almost every day. And I'm like, how on earth do you do that? Because there is no chance, no shot that I could do something like that for myself. I die. I was dead, like mentally. And I'm an extrovert. Like I get energy from people and everything. I die within 4, like honestly, 2 to 3 hours. I'm like, okay, yeah, I know, I'm done. I'm like, I can't do this. And I can still play. The difference for that is I can still play the game after I'm done with stream. I'm just done being on camera. Like if it was a real life, like if I was going exploring or like going out and about, that's completely different if I were able to do content like that, but I don't, and I don't really care to do that. There is no way that I can just sit still in front of a camera and play games for more than 3 hours, 4 hours. It's no.
Yeah.
That's just something that I have to applaud people who do that all the time. I get tired of editing stuff. Like I get tired of being on my computer, or like after a while I get tired of playing games. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, I can't do this. And it's something that I enjoy, like editing videos and making content, something that I enjoy so much. But streaming is not one of those things. And I had to quit streaming basically, unless it's like, oh, I'm doing a lot of reactions. So like playing games and stuff on stream is like a kind of dime a dozen, I guess.
Yeah. And that's probably where, I have the harder route, so to speak, to really build things up much with my streams, my channel, and the following thereof.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people out there who do like similar kinds of things, especially with the gaming. But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of that, especially recently, that's like so much more manufactured and like just so really just quick edits all the time, grab your attention in every possible way for like 5 minutes per video or something. I'm just like, I can't know. That's like, you're gonna get me. It's gonna look kind of basic, but you're gonna get me and just my thoughts, my vibe, whatever game I'm playing. Like, I'm here, and I'm putting this stuff out there so y'all can just like, be real with me, and I'm being real with you. So I'm not gonna like do super like major amounts of editing on stuff, and I'm not gonna like, that's also part of the reason maybe I don't lean too much into like shooter games or battle royales and whatnot, because that it's like it would just feel like the same thing over and over again to me. I'm more into like the stories of games and like really, having more unique experiences with it, even if it's not necessarily unique within the broader realm of the internet and gaming content out there. But yeah, it's more like, all right, we're just going on a ride through this story together and let's see where it takes us.
Right. I actually edit for I kind of hit on this earlier. Next Gen Chem. So he's like the chem teacher. And it's so difficult for me sometimes to really like edit a lot of his video because it's like story driven content. And so it's like I don't want to make all the funny edits. I don't want to make anything super like spectacular because I'm not trying. I want it to be interesting, but I don't want it to be so oversaturated with edits that it just disengages the viewer from the actual story and the actual plot of what's going on. And so he's been playing Arkham Knights. And so I've been editing his Arkham Knight series, and there's some times where I can put in some like funny stuff here and there or like cool edits or something, but it's so difficult for me just to like oversaturate because it's like 30 minutes of gameplay, not a big deal. But in that 30 minutes is like, it could be 20 minutes of, or like 10 to 15 minutes of just straight like story content. Yeah. And then it could be like 5 to 10 minutes of him walking around, and then like 5 or 10 minutes or so of action, like just straight him like fighting. And I'm like, there's not much you can do unless I just cut down the like going from place to place and then fighting in between. And then even then I'm like, I can't really cut out the storyline. So it's like, it's so difficult to kind of move that along because of the plot of it. And I'm like, I don't want to take away from the viewer's experience of the story if they're watching it for the story, because I know they're not watching it for my edits. Like, I know, because I'm not doing anything overly like dramatic, overly crazy, nothing like that. So it's just I know that they're watching it for the story content and him. And so it's a really difficult process to be like, okay, I need to find the fine line of what can I cut out and make this like better or just flow easier than just cutting out part of the story, because it's not going to work. And so editing is such a difficult process, and it's an annoying process if like I make shorts for myself and for him too now. So I do 2 shorts a week for him, and I do shorts whenever I can. Obviously, whenever I do like reactions and I'm like, oh, I really like this reaction, I'm gonna post shorts about it, blah blah blah, whatever. And it's easier, it's so much easier to do shorts than it is to edit that video, because then I can take a piece of the storyline if I wanted to. If he wanted that kind of short, I can take a piece of the storyline or a piece of him like beating the crap out of somebody in the game and then just post it. And then it's like, oh, that's great. But with story-driven content, it's to me, it's so much different. It's so much different between like action games, shooter games, and things like that. Because like shooter games, super easy just to cut and kind of go through, and you find like different areas where you can, oh, I can post a short here, I can do this here, that here. But with the story, just a straight story game or something like that, it's so much more difficult to make that, because it's like most of the time the story is like a cutscene could be like 2 to 3 minutes long, and you're like, okay, I can't cut all that up, and then it's hard to just cut it to where it actually makes sense. And so it's just like you kind of have to have your reaction to it or something else, and it's just other people can make it look good, and it's so hard. And I'm like, I try to study and do my research, and it's so much more difficult than what I ever imagined it could be.
Yeah. And I gotta imagine editing for somebody else is so much harder than it is for yourself, because it's like, you know what you want out of this, and like you kind of might even already in the moment be thinking like, oh yeah, this is totally a moment that's a little more funny, I could pop in a meme or something. And but for somebody else, it's like, I don't know as much what they were feeling right here and what they want to convey with this. So let me not go overboard with it.
I guess that's just the hardest part to me about, in general, about anything that you record and edit and things like that. It's like, I know with my reactions, I know I have everything set in presets. So as soon as I come through and I'm done recording, I just pop that into Premiere Pro, and then I'm like, okay, I make a copy of my video so I can cut it, like just crop it and then do the separate windows. Because like obviously I told you before, where I do my webcam is 1920 by 1080 on one side, and then I do whatever window, like if I'm doing a reaction, then I'll have that posted from like YouTube on the other side of the window. So in my OBS, it's like 1920, I think it's like 1920 by like, no, it's 3840 by 1080. So it just stretches it. It doesn't make it bigger. It just stretches it out. So I have like the two windows. Well, then I just move another, like that same clip, I just pretty much duplicate it, move it up, and then I have the presets that I just move in there, and then I just chop it up super quick, easy. My own videos probably takes me 5 minutes. Like, unless I want to do some like crazy edits, then it's like 10 minutes maybe. But the export process takes longer, and the upload process takes longer than it does for me to edit my own video. And if I want to do shorts, that's a whole different process and whatnot, but I have like templates for that too. And so it's like, I know, like you said, like, you know what you want whenever you're editing for yourself. But whenever it comes to like other people, you're like, I gotta feel out like how this guy's personality is, where he's wanting everything, what's his humor, is he gonna think this is funny, does he want memes, what does he want here? And so that's dude, it's one of the toughest things, but it's also the most rewarding thing too, because I'm working on some shorts by him, and whenever we get done here, I'll be editing some more. But one of the first shorts that we had, I think might have been like the first or second short that I did for him. It hit like 2.5K. And I'm like, that pays off, in my opinion. Because I'm like, okay, obviously he's posting at the right times, because like there are times to post. There's a lot of research into this that I've had to do. Like there are times to post, and then like the audience that you want to convey this to. So like a lot of, I've kind of going into some analytics and everything that I found out. So in one of your tabs, if you're on YouTube as much, and like it depends, I think it depends on how many people watch your videos, or it depends on how many subscribers. I'm not entirely sure on that. But you can see your audience and what time they watch your videos. So with that, it's really cool to see what times people are always on. That's going to be like available to watch your videos. And then you just post from there. And so I told him this, and I was like, well, the main times that I've seen is like 10 to 11 a.m., like 3 to 4 p.m., and then like 7 to 8 or 7 to 9 p.m. And I'm like, try those and we'll see how it works. And he was like, okay, I'll do that. So he posted a couple shorts. Most of his shorts hit close to 1,000 after that first one hit 2.5. It's been like the 800 to 1,000 range. And then he's been posting them at different times, trying to see which works for him. And so I'm not entirely sure when he posted his last one that I've seen, but it hit another like 2.5K again. But yeah. I told him, I was like, it's just when you have to post. And so the content is more of like, okay, when I edit this, is this going to hit his target audience? And it's, if he posts it at the right time that his target audience is on and is available to view it, is it going to hit? And, or is it going to be shown to them, essentially? Is it going to be recommended? There you go. If it's going to be recommended to them. Yeah. And so that's what I have to like really think about, because I'm like, as an editor, is this something that I might be proud of it? Is it something that he's going to be proud of it to post? And then is it something that his viewers are going to watch too? So there's so many different things that you have to think of, because my niche is completely different, because I don't do gaming stuff anymore. Like, I don't record gaming content. I stream it sometimes, but I don't record it. And even streaming, it's not often at all anymore. So I know the type of audience that I have. I know my own type of stuff that I want to do. But to really, whenever you're editing, you have to think about, okay, what is his audience going to like? What is the target audience he wants to reach? Obviously, probably like gamers, probably Christian gamers for the majority of it. But then like he wants to find other people that's going to watch the content, think that it's fun, cool. Because we played Project Playtime. And it's a free game. It was super fun to play, because we all, like me, him, and a couple other people played it together. And it was so much fun. It was a fun stream that we had. And getting to post that, I'm like, okay, so like horror fanatics on top of like just gamers, Christian gamers, and so many other people, like, would they want to watch this? Or like, if I cut this up, are they going to want to watch this? Is this something that he's proud of? And so it's something that's so crazy to have to even think about when editing like your own videos too. You know, it's like, as you're editing, it's like, is this going to hit the audience that I want to reach? And it's like, what audience do I want to reach? And then you kind of research from then and there, because it's insane. I know a guy who's done so much research down to the T, and he's doing amazing on YouTube. Like his name's Canon Games. I forgot his name on hold on, let me look on Twitter. What is,
I think I might have heard of him. Does he usually play Apex or something like that?
No, this guy plays Pokemon. Like, he's a big Pokemon streamer.
Okay, I was probably thinking of a different channel that starts with a K or something.
Yeah. Well, his name is Cannon. I think he had like 10 to 15,000 subs. Like, he blew up so quick. And the reason why is he did his research, and it's insane. So that's something that I like look at, because I'm like, sometimes I'll message him out of the blue, because I actually, funny story is, I was going to try to be his editor, because he was looking for people to edit for him. And at the time, me and my wife were really going through it. Like, we didn't have time to really do anything. And I was like, okay, I'll get this to you. And I missed like the time frame to get everything to him. And I just like, dude, I'm sorry. I couldn't get this, blah blah blah, like, sorry, you know. And he was like, well, I might be hiring another editor. And then I just like, I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't make the time frame work. And now I'm with an organization, but like, again, I don't get paid for any of the work that I do. Like, because I edit for Damascus Gaming, but they don't pay me. I do it kind of myself. So like Next Gen, he's kind of the co-owner of Damascus, and it's not on them. Like I can charge if I want to in the organization, but it's like, oh, I'm in an organization, utilize a free editor if you can. But as long as I'm not stretching myself too thin and like I can't post my own content, then I'm not trying to freak out. But to like some other people, I'm like, you know, I will charge you. I charge very low. I charge so low for a video editor. So it's like, I usually do 15 to 20 bucks per short. And that's pretty cheap, because sometimes shorts can take longer because I'm like finalizing and finely tuning pieces and everything. So it takes longer in my opinion. But then some long form content, I do like maybe 50, maybe. I like that's shooting big. That's like more on the expensive side, because it's like, oh, if you want, say, 2 long form videos and then 2 short form videos a week, then I mean, that's like 150, maybe. Like, that's really pushing it, because that's just stacking everything. And so it's like, I don't charge much. And I haven't really ever charged anybody for videos except for like once or twice. And then I've done like thumbnails. But I've always been like, here, donate. If you want to, donate. I'm just doing your videos for fun. Donate if you can, or feel free to, yada, yada, yada. Not a big deal. But it's just something that I've gotten experience on and I love doing. So it's been a blast being able to do it. But it's just so... It's kind of tedious. Yeah. Honestly, it's kind of tedious. So... Sometimes I wish I could just stream everything and then do it all in one take and then just quick edit and not have to do anything crazy. But I like having my own content, because from where I started to now, dude, insane. So I could go on and on about video editing and whatnot too. So I don't know.
I mean, like, I'm not even that, like I said, I don't really do complex edits or even a lot of editing stuff, other than like, if there's a section of a game where it's like, I'm not really making much progress here, okay, cut that out.
Yeah.
But like, even some stuff that I was doing, I was playing a certain game, very, very story driven. I don't know if you've heard of Digimon Survive.
I've heard of it.
But yeah, it's almost more like visual novel with a couple of interactive elements. But I was doing a certain playthrough of that I was streaming, and then, you know, kind of editing down whatever I felt like I could, just to make it shorter. But like, I feel you on the whole. Like, there are some moments that you really just enjoy the editing process when something really just seems to click.
Yeah.
And even just like, for me in this example, it was even just like, okay, I got to the end of a story. It felt like a really good, you know, hoo-ah, triumphant moment sort of thing. And I just found what seemed like the perfect song to put in the background with it, and even that just had me like almost gushing.
Dude, it's like a puzzle piece, and that's a big thing for me, is I love puzzles. So I'm like, if I'm just piecing this together and it starts panning out the vision that I have for it, I'm like, dude, I'm writing this, here we go, I have this, and then other stuff gets thrown on top of it. So it's like I'm doing a puzzle, but then another time it's like I'm also like building like a cake, like this magnificent cake, where it's just like things keep getting layered and on top, and just keeps building up to be like this this big monster of a thing. And then it's just like, I'm proud of this. I love this. And it could be a 30-second video or like a 10-second video, literally, that could blow up. And I think that's so crazy to me is that TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, like you could blow up in an instant with any kind of video. And it like some are edited to a T, some aren't even edited, and they're still popular. And I'm like, what is, I guess that's something else. What is so like what makes like some of the content so popular? Like it hits the target audience, I think.
Man, I wish I knew that.
Yeah, I just
like my own videos, I've seen more viewership on my most recent game that I played through than most of the games that I've played through. It was only like a short little like 5 episode, whatever you want to call it, 5 videos playing through this game and the story of it, because it was a fighting game, and fighting games don't have very long stories most of the time. But like for some reason it got more viewership than most of my other games that I played through, and I'm like, why is this is such like an obscure game that I wouldn't think much of anybody's heard of, and yet I'm getting like double, triple my typical viewership.
Yeah.
And
what game is that?
So the game is called Override Mech City Brawl.
Interesting. Okay.
Basically, you know, like the whole kind of kaiju mech fighter concept, or whatever. Like, take that and make it a video game.
Interesting. Okay.
That's really pretty much all that it is. That's the main premise of it. Yes, there is a story about like fighting certain aliens and stuff about the technology and whatnot, but it's like, this is such an obscure game. I hadn't even heard of this until I downloaded it and played it, and then hey, you know, and then I made a little short video from it, just a quick little like 16-second thing about there's a weapon you can pick up in the game that's like, it's literally just a frying pan. But I'm like, oh hey, frying pans, who knew, right? Turning it into like a Tangled reference.
Yeah.
And like, I've got my YouTube studio up in another tab right now. That currently is sitting at 2,600 views on that short.
That's crazy.
It's like, I literally have no clue sometimes what's going to make something blow up relatively or not.
Yeah, it's the crazy thing to me also is that you could literally work your butt off for a 10 to 20 second clip and it doesn't do anything, or it does very low. And then you could post another 10 to 20 second clip of like very minimal editing whatsoever or none, and then it blow up way bigger. And you're just like, I put all of this work into this.
Yeah.
Obviously it's not working, or I did, like, you can literally just do like side-by-side comparisons of have the clip edited to a special degree and then have the clip edited to no or very minimal degree. Post it like the same day, or like post one, say like on a Tuesday, post it on Tuesday, post like the crazy edited one on a Tuesday at a certain time, and then the next week post that other clip Tuesday, the same time as that other one before, like the same tags, same everything, and see how well it does. Like, I have this one short that has 13K, and like, I love the progress that I make on some of these videos, but also like I used to really go for views. I'm like, man, I want all the views that really is making my channel up. But it's like, if you make content you enjoy, you're going to keep on doing this. If you keep doing it for views and likes and everything, you're going to quit. Like, it's going to burn you out. And I had to really take that route. But anyway, I have a short that has 13K views. Whenever I posted that first, I don't even know if it had 1 or 2K. But then over time, I think I posted it back in like March. And over time, it was getting pushed back out to people for some reason. And whenever I go back to check it, I'm like, it has 12 to 13K views now. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what happened? Yeah. And then like I look back in the last like month and it has like 5K views in the last month, and I'm like, what just happened in this time frame to make it be pushed back out? I don't understand the algorithm. And I do my research and I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, it's a K-pop thing and it's a group that everybody knows and loves, but it's still like, what prompted this? Like, I want to know why this blew up in this amount of time. Like, and it was just a gradual increase and then it just sparked. And I'm like, what just happened?
It really doesn't help that YouTube's layout and even the algorithm changes from time to time.
Oh, dude.
Because I just noticed probably within the past month, like I usually just watch videos through my subscriptions feed.
Yeah.
So like whatever channels I'm subscribed to, I'll go through the list, go to whatever's the oldest one I haven't watched, and just go from there. But like I noticed within the past month, it was like they changed the layout a bit to get like, I don't know, maybe 10 or so of more recent ones that have, you know, sort of gotten a lot of traction.
Yeah.
Just under that, there will be like a few shorts
Interesting.
that have gotten some traction. And then it's the normal just by date listing. It used to be that everybody's shorts were integrated all throughout the by date listing in the subscription feed. But they've changed that now, which bothers me a little bit because now I'm not watching people's shorts like I used to. But
yeah, that's really strange. Like that's why I say YouTube is a love-hate relationship. Like it's literally insane whenever it's just like that kind of content, and it's just like, man, this should be posted and recommended to everybody, you know. And then it's just like, even in the subscription tabs, you're not getting like all your videos just thrown out there like it should be. And it's
but like all that to say, like, that's why I personally don't really like stress out over like, oh man, I gotta hyper edit this to get a whole bunch of views, and oh man, I gotta like, you know, really give these like the best titles and thumbnails and all that kind of stuff. Like, if I'm gonna stress out about all that stuff, it'll just keep me from doing the things I really want to do with it.
Yeah.
So like, it's really the main way I'm picking up any kind of traction lately is just consistency. I mean, I post a lot to be frank. Like, it's quote unquote easy content to make, but I've gotten at a pace where I'm putting something out there like literally every day.
Yeah.
I've got Bible study videos twice a week. I've got gaming videos 3 times a week, and then either a couple of shorts each, or like a short each on Saturday, Sunday, or if there's some other video that isn't quite in the normal Monday to Friday schedule, I'll put that up on the weekend. And So like I'm just pumping stuff out there, and it has taken a little while, but it's picking up a little bit. And that combined with, you know, really just making more connections, networking, to use the buzzword a bit more, but really just reaching out to people saying, hey, I'm here, I'm doing stuff. If you want to connect or whatever, I'm good with it. I mean, just
that's kind of like, you've reached out to me because I asked about podcast stuff, and you're like, yeah, I want to definitely like be the first guy on it. You know, it's like networking that way, you know. It's like kind of taking chances and figuring out like in the niche, because I'm like, at the end of the day, like, we love Jesus, we play video games, like that's stuff like super common, like that we definitely have, and I know so many people like that too. But some of the people are like, yeah, I want to be on the podcast, and then other people haven't even like reached out, you know. It's like networking is such a great thing, and you learn so much from it too. And that's something that I'll never take for granted, because it's so important. Like, that's a factor that's so important with this day and age, is like networking, to make sure that like, you know, which way you need to go with your content. Or like, say you send me a video like, hey, you should look at this and see what needs to be done, or, you know, like, how can this be better? or like, what do you think of this video? You know, would you watch this? Or just kind of throw random stuff, you know? And it's like, you want feedback and like the network and for people to help you out and like connect and like befriend people. And excuse me. It's honestly, it's kind of unmatched with that because it's so important to me. And I believe that it's just important in general. Now, do I think it's the most important thing? Not necessarily, but it's important to have people around you that you can trust and that you know that you can reach out to along with the network and everything else. So it's like making sure this is right, making sure like, how do you do this? Or like if you know somebody who edits a certain way that you like, or if they like have something stylized a way that you really love and that you could bounce off their influence on that. And so it's just like, hey, let's chat. How did you do this? What's going on? And kind of really integrating that, but also like you can really integrate Christ into that too. Cause it's, I mean, really all about him at the end of the day. And so I think it's really, really dope to be able to connect and to really like speak out and really connect with those around us, because at the end, people are so important. One thing that I posted on the previous episode, or like the first episode of the podcast, is I used to say people suck all the time. I said people suck all the time. I'm like, if I'm having a bad day, people suck. It is what it is. People being bad to you, people suck. It's like, yeah. But if you look at it at the end of the day, God used people, or God uses those same people that you say suck for something that is to his purpose. And so I now don't say people suck. I say sin sucks that's inside of people. And so like the big change in direction of that, because it's like if you want to network, God's crazy, because he'll put people in your path to network with those people. And then you're like, oh, I never knew you existed. What's going on here? And then you're like, I like your content. That's crazy. And then God placed that person in your path for a reason, but it's up to you to like, if you want to reach out, talk to them or something of the sort, you know. It's like, if you're just mindlessly scrolling, I know it's like the algorithm, but sometimes God really can use that to be like, okay, here's a video that popped up and you're like, dude, I never knew this existed. I never knew this person existed. This is insane. I love this game. And I found somebody who's Christian or who loves Jesus or who's like a clean, family-friendly streamer who, like, at the time it's just like a family-friendly streamer and you don't know they're Christian. Like, there's so many connections you can make. And so I think that's like one of the most like crazy things ever. And I think that it's pretty important, but there's so many different ways to go about that, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, I've had a couple of small world sort of moments in that regard recently. So one of those is actually a different YouTube channel that I'm like kind of a co-founder of, you might say. That really the idea of that even more so is focused on like the sort of collaborative aspect. It's almost like if I took my videos and my channel idea and turned that into more podcast format ish. But anyway, we were talking to somebody to possibly have them on as a guest for a couple of videos, and then I found out through that interaction that they're actually connected on a certain Christian Discord channel that I was already on as well, just wasn't very active on.
Yeah.
And it suddenly turned into like dude, why haven't I been doing anything on this Discord chat lately?
Dude, that's a whole nother topic too. I'm bad about that.
Oh yeah.
I'm a part of so many Discords, but I rarely ever interact. Even in the Damascus Gaming, where I'm an editor for, I rarely ever talk on Discord. Like, I don't know what it is. That's not something I check.
I found myself really having to be more intentional about that. I used to
Yes.
like when I'd be on my lunch breaks at work, just scroll through Twitter or whatever, maybe interact with some stuff on there. And then I realized like I've got these Discord communities that I'm connected with. Really, I should probably prioritize that a bit more. So I just decided, all right, yeah, I might look at Twitter, but I'm looking at Discord first.
Yeah.
And like anything that pops up there, I might not always interact with them, but like, you know, at least I see it, get a sense of what's going on there. And if I feel led, then I say something, interact, however, and, you know, really make the connections a bit more there. Rather than it's like, oh yeah, I try and comment on somebody's tweet and they might not see it. Some people, I mean, they've got so many replies that it's just like they're not gonna catch everybody. So,
Yeah. That
but yeah,
makes
it's I don't know. There are. If I really went back and looked on it, because it's been probably about a year to a year and a half that I've really actually focused on, you know, doing YouTube stuff, really trying to turn it into any kind of ministry effort,
Mhm.
and also just taking it more seriously, trying to put more out there and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, you know, the numbers might sound sort of low relative to some other people, but there are things that I've done that you know, I've slowly over time kind of changed, integrated, diversified, made more connections. And I mean, yeah, so far like I went from maybe about 50 subscribers when I really started taking this seriously to now I'm a little over 150. Which again isn't massive numbers, but like it still kind of keeps picking up. And so
Yeah. That dude, that's a whole like college classroom. Like that's something. Okay, sorry to interrupt, but like that's something that I really thought of, had to think about too. Is that like if you get 50 to 100 views, even lower, like okay, let's say like 5 to 10, that's a small classroom full of people who love your content or want to watch your content. And it's like you have 150 subscribers or so, and that keeps adding up. That's a whole, like, I've been in a college classroom, like speaking in front of people, and that's a lot of people. It's like 150, 200 people. That's a lot of people, a lot of so many different people from different backgrounds who love your content that know at least 5 people. At least 5 people. Yeah. And they could recommend your content to those 5 people, and then 5 people turns into 25, turns into like, I mean, it just branches out from there, you know. It's like 5 just kept going, you know. So like a big like mindset is like, I have 150 subscribers, like that's crazy. I looked at a statistic, and I think it was somewhere like maybe 10% of YouTube, people have 1,000 subscribers and are monetized. At least I think around 10%, only 10% of YouTubers. So like people who make content, it took me over a year to do what I did, like to hit that 1,000 sub mark. And so it's just the mindset of it is like, dude, I have 150 people who love this content. Like that's crazy. You get 50 views. You get 5 views. That's like, oh, that's 5 people that really like my content. I'm getting somewhere. I'm like, because I'm gonna flip this about Jesus, but like at the end of the day, if I reached one person and like I spoke about Jesus to them, that's a win in my book. And if I change their life and they want Jesus, they accept Jesus as his Lord and Savior, one person, that'll change my entire life, change my entire perspective. And then I think kind of the same way about content. I'm like, dude, if one person watches my watches my video, I'm good. Because it's just like, I do it for him. I don't want to do it for views, even though views are nice, obviously.
Yeah.
I want to get paid for my hobby, you know. But at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, you got 1 subscriber, you got 10, 100,000, 100,000, a million. Like, at the end of the day, those people love your content, and content's content, and people love you. They even might love you and not even necessarily like the content. They might not even care about the game you play. They just love you and your personality and the stuff that you bring to the table. So that's
the thing. It's like the people who really stick around to, you know, on any particular person's channel or whatever, it's like they stick around 90% of the time. That's a made up statistic, but like the vast majority of the time, if they're sticking around and continuing to watch and engage with a certain channel or anything like that, it's because of the personality.
Yeah.
Like, because there's all sorts of people that are probably making a similar style of content, but don't have the same kind of personality.
Yeah.
And like you said, like, even if, you know, I'm only reaching a couple of people, even if only like maybe a few are watching the Bible studies or whatnot, like, I'm still bringing people in. I'm getting them to, you know, hear maybe a different perspective than they have before. And like, you know, I'm at least having some chance at pointing those people to God in some way or another.
Yeah.
And just a cool story that I've had in that regard, especially with the live streams. When I was still streaming on Twitch, I was playing that Digimon Survive game that I talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else came on who was really interested in that game, and we really started, you know, our conversation focused on the game to start off, because we both really liked it. We're enjoying it. You know, it's like oh, hey, what did you think of this? How far are you? But eventually that person came back to other live streams where I was doing Bible study, and they stuck around and still engaged with that. And to make the story a bit shorter, not too long afterwards, I find out in some way, or really probably more God through me, encouraged that viewer to actually, like, even though they don't necessarily believe in God yet, they're not necessarily Christian yet, but they were still encouraged through these interactions to get their own Bible and start looking at it themselves and studying it in their own time.
Yeah.
Which, like, that's a great step even just towards, you know, them figuring out their own faith and that kind of stuff. And I'm just blown away that I could be part of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's so incredible, because a lot of it is like, we really have to show love. This is kind of just from my perspective. Like, we have to show love to those around us. Like, I've been a part of the, like, the hellfire and damnation type of preaching. Like, I've been a part of that. Whenever I was in high school, I could tell you that I thought I was the perfect Christian in high school. Like, I didn't want to do anything bad. I never said cuss words. I didn't do anything like that. Like, in high school, nothing, no drinking, no nothing in high school. Like, that was not a big thing for me. And at the end of the day, whenever, like, I found out somebody was struggling with something, I'm like, how do you struggle with that whenever I don't? It's like, how do you struggle with that and I don't?
Yeah. And like, it's so obvious. Just don't do the thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, this is way too obvious to just not do it. So why are you doing it?
Like, you look at Genesis, Garden of Eden. It was literally one thing. God said, don't do the thing. And yet, what inevitably happens?
Did the thing.
They do the thing.
So,
we don't know how long it took them.
Yeah.
But eventually, just because of the way people are, we do things.
Yeah.
That we're not supposed to. And it's like, if we all do things that we're not supposed to like that, what's the point in being all, like, judgmental about it and, like, really, like, thinking we're any kind of better than anybody else?
Yeah. I couldn't imagine myself being like that now. Just because of like everything that I've been through. There was I completely forgot where I was going with my story. Oh no, it happens. I was like, okay, there's a moral to this story, and it was like right after you were talking about like that. I think I remember. Okay, so this is all full circle. I'm all over the place. So like I've been a part of the hellfire and damnation type of preaching, and then like whenever I was in high school, obviously like kind of mentioned, I was that kid that was just like, I don't struggle with this, so why do you? Like, you shouldn't. Like, I don't care what you're going through, you shouldn't struggle with that. But I had my own sin in the background that I was hiding too. But I would just be like, nope, you shouldn't deal with that. God says no. If you're a Christian, you shouldn't struggle. You're supposed to be solid, but like I dealt with stuff since I was a child, and it's like a generational curse type of thing. And to really like look back on it, we have to walk with people nowadays. Like, you can't just hellfire and damnation preaching isn't going to work. And that's just my thought process. Almost the entire world's like it's really mainstream now to hate on Christians, to say Christianity is bad. Like, other religions aren't as bashed, but it's really cool to hate on Christians and say that it's a terrible thing. But it's, if people know you by your fruit, like, they will be so drawn to you more than anything. If I had an unbeliever sitting like pretty much on this video call, and I was literally like preaching to them, more than likely they're not going to listen to me. Like, it's going to go in one ear and out the other, or they're going to argue with me. And arguments are never going to lead anybody to Christ. Like, you're not going to change their mind. They're not going to change yours. It's just, I've had that happen recently where like somebody was trying to argue with me on Facebook about a post that I made. And I'm like, dude, I'm literally not going to argue with you because it's not going to change your mind. I know that it's not, and you're not going to be able to change mine. So we're at an impasse. There's no point in talking about this. I was like, God bless, have a good day. Yeah. And then they still tried to argue with me. And then pretty much at the end of it, I was like, okay, you literally could have scrolled past this post, or you can unfollow me, or like you can unfriend me. That's where we're at right now. I'm like, and other people were like laughing at the stuff that I was saying, or like really backing him up. And I'm like, okay, like if I don't like people's stuff, I just click past it. It's not a big deal. Like, obviously, if you're just trying to argue, you're going to argue and you don't know the person. Because if you know the person that you're really trying to like connect with, or like, say I had an unbeliever sitting where you're sitting, and I was able I played video games with them. I talked to them on the daily, or like every periodically, like they're going to know me. But if I didn't say like, hey, I'm a Christian, it's like, okay. But if they saw my fruit, then how is that going to respond better than me just being like, oh, I'm a Christian, or I love Jesus, and then something happened? It's like, it's a difficult fine line for myself, because I'm like, I want people to know that I'm a Christian and I love Jesus. Like, I want them to know. I want to tell the whole world that. And I want to be able to say that out loud, but I also want to show my actions in that. And so that way people know by my actions and know by my fruit of like how I act whenever I'm upset, how I act whenever like there's pressure, or I'm like, if something's not going my way, like how does that affect my mentality, and how do other people see that through me? How do other people really see Jesus through me? And that's just something at the end of the day that I want people to know. It's like, do you see Jesus in me and what I do? And a lot of that is going to be having to walk with people and love people differently than ever before, like, because this is such a difficult time. And that's why I don't say people suck. Like, I don't say people suck anymore, because of like just looking back of what God's done with people who are the worst of the worst, who's quote unquote done worse than me, you know, like he still loves all of us. He loves all of us. And it's like he loves that person that tried to argue with me on Facebook. He loves that guy.
Yeah.
Like he loves the drug addict across the street. He loves the girl who's like pretty much selling her body so she can make some money. Like he loves those people. He loves the person that robbed you 5 minutes ago. Like it's like he doesn't I mean, obviously the stuff that he doesn't like them doing that, but like he loves that person all the same. And so that's something with like new people coming in, or like people that we don't necessarily agree with nowadays. And it's like, you kind of got to walk the fine line, but I want people to know by my fruit. And I want them to know that like Jesus is there and he loves them regardless of what they think about Jesus, or even if they believe that he's real or not, you know, like.
And like, if I'm the impression that they get of Jesus, that means I want to be loving towards them and show that I care about them, at least in some similar way to how I think God cares about them.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
Like, honestly, a lot of that, like, you know, being with them in that, like, not really judging them so much for what they're doing wrong. That, I mean, so one of my favorite Bible passages comes from Matthew 7:1-5, and it's the part where it talks about having the log in your eye versus the speck in someone else's, and it's like, why do you try and take the speck out of someone else's when you have a log in your own?
Yeah.
Like, by being all judgmental like that, you're nitpicking the little bit of them that you see, but meanwhile, you're probably like smacking them in the head with the log coming out of you.
Yeah.
And you're doing more harm than good by being judgmental like that.
Exactly.
But what I love about that passage as well is it's not just like a passive don't be judgy sort of thing, because it also encourages you to look at and take the log out of your own eye first. Not that you're going to get rid of all of your bad stuff necessarily, but like it's more of a like, check your motives, check your heart, like make sure that you're coming at this in a way that you're genuinely trying to help, rather than just, you know, trying to get attention or being judgy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, work on yourself too, both in general and in this particular situation as you relate to this person.
Yeah. That it's hard because like I don't think a lot of people really realize like the damage they can do by like the judgmental side of Christianity, and a lot of the church hurt too. At the end of the day, you know, like,
and to be real, like that's where a lot of the pushback against Christians comes from. It's because these people have had church hurt, or they've like seen the judgmental Christians out there, and like,
who would want to be a part of that?
If I saw that and I wasn't a believer, I'm not sure I would want to believe in a God whose people are just so judgmental and pushing people away and like saying, no, you're going to hell because you did XYZ thing, just because it's, you know, like a different thing than what they do.
Dude, I have a couple instances with stuff like that where like I went to a concert a while, like it was years ago, and it was a Coldplay concert, and my boss at the time, like, Coldplay is so good, but my boss, I worked at the river at a canoe rental. It was like a little boat place. Shout out to my old boss Jimbo, but it's really cool. Place is called Beaver's Bend River Floats. I'm kind of plugging it because I love that place. I used to work there for, it's like 2 to 3 years. But he took us out and we went to a Coldplay concert. And standing out front, like, I'm a big Christian, mind you, like, this was high school, mind you, there were people out on, like, in front of the, like, place that we were going in to go see the concert. I think it was like the BOK Center in Tulsa. I'm not, somewhere around there, I'm not sure. But they had people with megaphones and speakers and stuff speaking out, saying, like, God hates, like, rock music, or, like, God hates this type of music, and that it was demonic and everything. And I'm like, dude, I don't like you. Like, I cannot stand those types of people. Like, if you're just standing out on the street being like, God hates this, da 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 da, like Westboro Baptist Church, for instance, like, terrible people. That's not how you can get people to Christ, is by hate. It's like, you can love people and not affirm what they're doing. Obviously. So there's a lot of thoughts on that, in my opinion, but I'm not going to go there. That's too long of a conversation. So, but at the end of the day, it was just that still sticks with me, because I'm like, you are literally spreading hate. And then they try to give me like this, it was one of those paper money things that was just like, on the back of it, it talks about like Jesus and all sorts of stuff, and like a religion. And I'm like, dude, no, why would I want that? Like, I'm a Christian. Why are you spreading hatred towards like a genre of music that I like? Obviously, like, it's like, I don't think Coldplay really has any like just bad songs or like any cussing or anything in their songs. Obviously, I haven't listened to them in a while, but like, I don't know, back then, like, any of their music didn't really have cussing or anything like that in it. Like, it was family friendly music. I would listen to it around my family. And so, like, part of me is like, I quit listening to secular music, but like, I loved Coldplay. So like, I really enjoyed them. And the thing is, like, it's family friendly music. I would listen to it no matter what at that time. And no matter if it was secular or not, like, it's family friendly, whatever. Like, if it's not degrading, if it's not sexualized, anything like that, like, I will listen to it. It's not like, if it talks positive or like chill music, you know, I'm gonna listen to it regardless of if it's secular or not. But to have that kind of like thrown in my face really left a bad taste, because I'm like, dude, you literally are spreading hate towards music that we enjoy. And it's not even like demonic, and that's nuts to me. And I'll give one other instance and then kind of get off the matter and kind of start kind of winding down. It was, I mentioned this before, kind of in the post that I made about church hurt, and then in the first episode of the podcast. I had a Sunday school teacher literally tell me that Christian rap was demonic. And I hear that all the time, because it has to deal with like a secular beat to it, and that makes people want to dance. And I'm like, no, if you can't control your own self to not do that, like, it's literally, a song could be like, it could be all about Jesus. It could be all about Jesus, what they're talking about, but it's still demonic because of the beat. And it's like, that's not how that works. It's a heart issue.
Yeah.
And my Sunday school teacher literally, dude, this just blows my mind. This was like 15, 16-year-old me, and this still blows my mind. He compared it to Christian pornography. And he was like, Christian pornography is not a thing. Obviously, you can't have those two things together. And he was like, that's literally Christian rap. You can't have those two things together. And I'm like, you're joking. I'm like, why do you not? I was furious, because I just made the switch, and I was like, what? Why are you saying this? So like, what?
You even know what's in this music. Like, it's literally talking about Jesus.
The argument that was given is that he couldn't understand it, and that's why. Like, because of the words, you couldn't understand it. And I'm like, then that's not your kind of music. It doesn't mean it's demonic. It doesn't mean that it's comparable to Christian pornography, which is not a thing, which really ticked me off. It still ticks me off. I get triggered every time I hear about it. I'm like, dude, there's no way that you're doing this. And it's just people like that spread like the hate message, that really just grinds my gears, because I'm like, this is literally not demonic or evil, but yet you are acting like it is the worst possible thing that could ever exist. It's like, what is going on inside of you and like your mindset that's making this stuff demonic? Like, how do you remotely even get close to this? Like, there's so many people around you or like other Christians that love Christian rap, or that if they're from like a different area and they just grew up listening to regular rap music, like myself, I listen to a lot of rap music, and then I switched over to music that I enjoy that's Christian, but still being told that it's demonic. Like that's a wild thing to me, and that I will never understand to this day, of why people want to spread a message of hate and just of discourse. It's like just division too, because there's so much on that too, and that's a whole nother episode too on that stuff, I think, because dude, that's, I don't know, that it just goes back to like really knowing when to kind of keep your mouth shut about a topic that you don't know about. It's okay to say I don't know, and to go on there, or like, let me do my research about this. Like, go do your research about Christian rap, like see what the message is. It's all about the heart, in my opinion. It's like, why did this person release this song? Like, what's the motive? What's the heart behind it? That's what I want to know. And like, there are some music, like some songs that are like super pumped up, vibey, and everything that I love. Like, and it doesn't have to mention Jesus every 2 seconds, but like, I know the people behind it and why they made it. It's clean music. It's good. It's fun, entertaining. It's great. And like, that's what I love. And so like, and I know that Jesus is there behind it, and I know that they're really in tune and like they love Jesus so much. And to me, at the end of the day, that's what matters. If you love Jesus and like your heart is in the right place with your content, with your music, with your game, with your podcast, with just your life in general, like at the end of the day, like we know where we're going. We know really who we can put our trust in and who we can believe in. And we know that there's going to be some sort of outcome of why we're doing what we're doing, and why Jesus called us to do is something that we just love, you know? So kind of any final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns before we end this thing?
I feel like we hit on pretty much the most important stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is, you know, all about Jesus as much as we can make it, all about, you know, showing other people what we want, well, not just what we want, showing other people God's love. I mean, exactly. It's really the best way to boil it down. I mean, there's a reason that Jesus put, you know, 2 commandments together and said they were like each other. When asked what the greatest commandment was, he said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, which, by the way, comes from Deuteronomy. I know that because of Bible study stuff I've been doing lately.
Nice.
He was quoting Deuteronomy. Love that I'm seeing like connections there and being able to comment on those as I go through. But anyway, I digress. So he said that was the greatest commandment, but then he immediately said, a second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
Treat others how you want to be treated. Don't like be a jerk because you think they're wrong. If somebody thought you were wrong, would you want them to be a jerk to you about it?
Exactly.
No. So just like focus more on those relationships with people and on, you know, just being, I mean, I always try to make myself somebody that I would hope people feel like they can come to with questions or problems or whatever. And I might not be able to help every situation, but I'll listen and I'll do whatever I can. Ultimately, God's going to work through me in that however he wants.
Exactly. So, dude, I'm here for it. I like it. I like it. That's cool that you you knew that came from Deuteronomy and everything, like the kind of the
Yeah, it's
I forget the
again,
word.
So, I don't know if this is gonna make me sound like Bible nerdy or anything like that, but I'm actually on my 4th time reading through the Bible cover to cover,
Jeez.
and but like each time that I go back, I find new things. Now, I will say part of what's motivated me each time is looking at a different translation of it.
Yeah.
So like I've read New International Version, New Revised Standard Version, English Standard Version, and I'm currently on the New Living Translation.
Gotcha.
And that's part of what's motivated me to get into it each time. But even then, it's like as I go through, I pick up more of the, how things relate to each other, what this person was quoting, and realizing, oh, hey, this is that quote in its original context.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot.
Like, shoot, if I can, I might actually sometime later send you an image that I saved of something somebody tweeted out, that it's just like a graphic of all the different, references and stuff that the Bible makes to itself.
Definitely do that
in various places.
Yeah.
It's cool to look at, even if you're not like, nerdy about the Bible in that way. Just seeing all the different ways that it's connected and it relates to itself and ultimately tells the broader story of, us being imperfect, needing, a savior, Jesus coming and being that savior, and ultimately that we can just put our trust in him. And, yeah, we might mess up on things, but ultimately when we lean on Jesus, we're doing our best, and that's all that God really asks of us.
Exactly. All right. So we're going to go ahead and kind of end it. So we're almost at 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love it, dude. This was very, very insightful. Thanks for joining. I really do appreciate you being here, wanting to be the first guest on the podcast. Definitely would love to have you back on. So if you have any more, like, I like the Bible nerd aspect of everything, learning what other people have read and like the different things that they've taken away from the Bible. So like another time that could be something that we do too, that we can kind of speak on, and you can kind of go through that with me. That would be actually pretty dope. But that can be for another time. So if you ever want to come back on the pod, definitely would love to have you back.
Yeah.
But guys, if you will, go ahead and check out That Random Gamer over on YouTube and Kick. So, and then he has Twitter. Get Instagram.
Oh geez, I've got Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, technically Facebook. I've got a lot of the stuff that's out there, and most of it's gonna be some variation of That Random Christian Gamer. Twitter's weird and has a character limit on your name. So like I had to put an X there instead of Christ, but that's literally like an accepted shorthand. Don't like some people try and be judgy about that too. Like, you use X instead of Christ. You're taking Christ out of it. No, it's an accepted shorthand.
Gotcha.
But anyway, yeah.
So I digress. I got you. So with all that, I'll go ahead and link all that down in the description and everything. So if you guys will go ahead and check that out. It's also going to be like kind of, hold on, I got a point right. It's going to be right down there if you guys want to check it out.
I'm seeing that on my left, so if that's the direction you want.
So I'm seeing it in a completely different direction than But if you guys will, I'll leave his @ down there too, as long as everything down in the description. So if you guys will go ahead and check out That Random Christian Gamer over on all of those socials of what he just said, because that's a lot to.
YouTube's the big one, especially if you want to catch all the videos and everything.
There you go. So, Matt, thanks. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
And guys, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. And then we'll go ahead and check you out in the next one. Peace out. Love you guys. God bless.